Hey guys, welcome to the craft. DM Scotty here. Good to have you with me. Today I'm going to do more of my dragon trap, the multi-room traps. So make sure that you watch the DM's craft number 86. You'll be like, huh? Because this won't make any sense unless you do. So, I mean, I guess it would make some sense, but the synergy of the rooms won't make any sense unless you watch that video. So make sure you watch 86 if you haven't watched it yet. So today we're going to show the other two trap rooms. There's an ice trap room. I'm going to show you all about that. And then I had another room below the Razor Rock pit that had some nasty elements to it. So let's go to the table and let me show you how to kill your players. Now the trick to my ice room was these transparency film sheets that you can run through printers, LaserJet printers, but you wouldn't have to use these kind of sheets. You could just use any kind of plastic. I just had these available, so it's what I use. So let me show you what I did. So I couldn't make them all on one sheet, so I took these sheets and made ice out of them. Okay, so they would connect like this, all right? And let me move it over so you can see a little bit. They connect like that. Okay, so I actually had to use 3 pieces. But I think it gives a nice ice effect, nice quick, cheap ice effect. So essentially what I did is I just took the plastic sheet and then I took white spray paint and I used a piece of card and I would kind of line it up like this and then kind of give it a quick spray hit. Okay, like. And so that kind of gave that nice ice effect. So now I'm going to grab the tile and show you what it looks like applied to the tile. Now when I first unveiled this tile, I had the ice on it because I didn't want the players to realize that the ice could just melt and just, you know, when they dispelled it and just this water torrent would just push them into that the stone sharp stone room. Okay, so when I bring the tile out, I had these on it, so I just cut them to fit into this shape. All right, and there is a little bit of a line there, but it's not bad. I mean, it doesn't look horrible or anything. And then I had, this was a way to go up, so this little cul-de-sac here went up to another level. It was about 20 feet up. Okay, and so I had cut that piece to go in. Okay, all right, so that's the ice room. I think it looks really, really nice for just how easy and simple and quick it was to do this. Okay, so if you see my other video, you know that the magic user, I figured the magic user would dispel the ice because I made it seem as dangerous as possible and highly magical, and so he dispelled it and it all went away and the water washed them into the next room, and they had to make multiple checks trying not to get shredded on those rocks. But so that's what I like about this technique. You can just pull this right off, and then there's no more ice. Okay. Now I could have made these permanently icy if I wanted to, but I decided it was kind of fun to be able to take the ice off. Or if you want to make it so that you can reuse caverns and put ice in them, this is a great technique to do that. So, so now I want to show you the other room that the players would have to tangle with. Okay, so here's the room I was talking about that's below the pit with the razor rocks. Okay, so I had like a giant air elemental in here. This is actually, I think, a water elemental, but I use it as an air elemental, close enough. And I did these metal doors on the walls because I had made these pieces also, and I didn't want to have them. I didn't want to have to put them up when I set up the tile. So I just said that these were up. Okay, so the trick to this was, this air elemental was pushing enough force against these doors to keep them shut. Okay, if they try to dispel this, okay, the doors slam down, so they go bam. Okay, so if anybody is standing if they're pushed up against the wall from the air elemental, and this comes down, bam, they're going to get hit by this metal door. Not only that, but trapped underneath it, so they got to try to get out of that. Then all the sand pours out, okay? So, which can bury them in sand, which is kind of nasty. But also, if the water comes down and they dispel the air elemental, because it's like a vortex in here, it's like a watery vortex, those doors would come down. They may not get hit by the doors since they're spinning around in the water, but the sand will come in, so they may end up getting stuck in the sand. So that's pretty nasty. They weren't able to dispel the elemental, so that they didn't have that misery. But when they got forced down into this pit from the water deluge, they managed to do enough checks to get out of here. A couple of them, or one of them did go. The mage did go down, but they managed to pull him out and everything. So it was pretty hairy, but they did get out of it. Yeah, it was pretty rough. So there you go. There's the pit part of this, where the pit ends up. There's also another tunnel that I had a whole treasure thing. I guess I'll show that too. And it wasn't part of this trap, but it was another whole thing. And there was an exit like about 20 or 15 feet up, or 20 feet up actually from this. So it came out here and then dropped. Okay, so that was a whole nother section of the dungeon if the players got separated, which there was a possibility. So there you go. Now I wanted to show you one last thing with the ice tiles. I had done some ice walls so if the players didn't dispel the ice, I was going to have a fight. So I'll show you those now. To create the ice walls, I did a very similar technique to what I did for the stones. I just took the TP and kind of squished it up and stood it up with the glue. And then I made small bases. After it dried, I made small bases with very thin cardboard. And then you can see I hot glued it to the bases. And then I was ready for the next step. Here you can see I've started to paint the ice walls. So I did a light blue. The picture's a little dark, so the blue is lighter than it's showing up. But it was, I painted it light blue with some white, and then I did some pearlescent on it. At this point, what I did was I did the same technique I did to the ice bridge. I put a little bit of PVA glue on it, and then sprinkled some of the very small glitter on it to give it a nice sparkle. And then I put hot glue on it exactly like I described on the bridge, the ice bridge, and that gave it kind of a nice icy look. So we'll go to the table and I'll show you what that looks like. So here we have our ice tile. And remember that this was like a 30-degree slope, so this is a fairly good slope, and the floor is ice, so that's going to be a little tricky to get up. So when the players enter, all right, if they didn't do the dispel thing, I had some ice walls that I made, and here's one of the ice walls, and they would just pop up, okay, and then they would come at the players and try to push them out of the tile back into the sharp, razor sharp dragon teeth rocks, and then get them to fall down in the pit. So even if they didn't dispel it, I had a kind of a contingency backup plan for them that they had to deal with. Now let me give you a closer look at these walls. Being white, they're a little harder to see, but I did do the glitter on them. I don't know if you can see that in there, but it does give a little nice effect on there. Also, I really like that doing the painting underneath and then putting the white or the hot glue on top. That gives it a really nice kind of icy look without having to use the gloss on it. So yeah, so it was less messy because I didn't have to put the gloss on this. All right, so there we go. There's some nice ice walls for this frozen room, and I'll see you next time on the craft. Hey crafters, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the DM's Craft. Make sure to subscribe, and I have tons of other videos, as you can see. I am the originator of the 2.5D method of crafting tiles. I also do dirt cheap terrain for the table. If all this intrigues you, make sure you check out all the videos below. Also, join my forum. We have lots of great crafters on there who give advice. I have a link above and below. And last but not least, remember, go forth and craft!